Remember when I said Pat McGrath Labs putting up all their assets at this panic auction just to get some money in was not a good sign? And yet still some of you down in the comments were saying, no, 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 everything is as it should. This brand is doing great. Well, they just filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, so I think it's safe to say they're not doing amazing. Welcome to this week's new makeup releases. So we are going to talk about the new makeup that's been released, announced, and sneak peek. I'm going to let you know what I think about these things. I'm going to give some insights on the processes that are going on behind the scenes. We're also going to be talking about some industry news, including the fact that Pat McGrath Lab seems to be heading in a different direction. Things seem to be a little bit rocky over in the labs, okay? I have been doing these kind of videos for almost a decade, and even though I don't know 100% how my uploading schedule is going to be in 2026, I'm not totally abandoning the series. I love talking about new makeup with you, talking about what's going on in the industry, and hearing what you have to say down in the comments. But before we get into the gossip, before we get into the new makeup releases, let's hear it from this week's sponsor, which I am obsessed with. I am so excited to be talking to you about Laundry Sauce today. Laundry Sauce is a luxury detergent brand that makes your entire house, all of your laundry, smell exquisite. Not only does it keep your stuff clean, because of course a good laundry detergent has to, it has an amazing scent profile that literally takes laundry from being a chore to being something to enjoy. My husband has been doing the laundry while I've been sitting here filming, and the entire house smells like Siberian pine. This is the scent that I chose. They do have other scents as well to choose from. If this is not the right one for you, they have like Italian bergamot, Egyptian rose, I think they have like Indonesian patchouli. Let me tell you, it was not easy picking a scent, and this one smells so delicious. And let me show you, there are like pods. These are like the laundry detergent pods. This whole packaging is made from recycled material, and these pods, of course, does dissolve in the washing machine. These are already pre-measured. You just put one into the washing machine and they smell so good. This one has Siberian pine, French lavender, juniper berry, effervescent ginger, and oak moss. And it's something about the woodiness together with the ginger that is just very sensual and just very uplifting. And I have been obsessed with having my towels, my clothes, my linen smelling like this. Absolutely delicious. Very easy to use. Like I said, just pop one of them in and it is a big package. They also have conditioner. We have actually been using the sheets, the dryer sheets. You just pop one of them in to the dryer. It keeps your clothes soft. It makes them smell, again, incredible. Like I am obsessed. I am obsessed with this scent. It is incredible. It also keeps your stuff from your dryer being less static. And then they also have, you can hear, it's like little beads in here. There are like scent boosters. You can put them into your laundry. If there's something where you're like, I really want this one to smell even extra. I've been using it on towels and sheets because, I want to wrap myself in this scent. I have been so excited to use this. I never thought that you can get your house and your laundry to smell this good. This is not just smelling like laundry detergent. This smells like an exclusive and expensive fragrance in the best way possible. I could not be more excited about this. And we've actually had quite a few guests coming over and staying in our place. I've been using this for our towels and for our linen, and I felt like a good host, and I've been getting compliments about how good everything smells. So if you're looking to upgrade your laundry experience, I cannot recommend this product enough. Again, I did not even know that something this wonderful existed. I am not the person who loves doing my laundry, but I love the scent of these and how they make everything look and feel. And again, of course, keeping everything clean. We do let our dogs sleep in the bed. I know you're not supposed to, but we love them and we want to have them in our bed. So we do have to wash our sheets quite often, and we do sometimes get stains from the dogs, especially drool from Tesla. So I'm very excited to tell you that this definitely removes all of those things as well. So definitely check out Laundry Sauce. I'm gonna put them in the top of the description box down below, or you can scan the QR code that you're seeing on screen right now. They also did give me a discount code. You can get a discount by using this code right here. It is going to be my name, Angelic Nyquist 15, or as the Americans would like to say it, Angelica Nyquist 15. If you're looking to level up your laundry experience, if you're looking for something that really smells luxurious, for something that actually feels wonderful to have wrapped around you all day in the form of towels, linens, or clothes, I definitely recommend checking out Laundry Sauce. I am so impressed with this, and I just cannot see me go back to using a normal detergent again, because the scent of this and the experience of this truly just makes my house feels better. This is an upgraded experience for sure, and now I want to try the other scents as well. So I am so excited to have them here as a sponsor on my channel. Definitely check them out down below in the description box, and let's get into the rest of the video. Okay, let me scoochie to the side. Let's not fall off the chair. Is this fine? Am I fine? Is everything fine? And let's quickly first talk about what's on my eyes, because actually what is on my eyes is the Made a Monster by Unearthly Cosmetics. I did film this look with this palette. I love how this is looking. It's so cool. It's so fierce. I don't know if this is my favorite Valentine's theme palette that has come out this season, but it might be. It is at least like really up there. I'm really enjoying it. It was a pre-order, but now this one is available for shipping, and my copy is here, as you can see. This look will be live hopefully next week, but I just want to let you know what's on my eyes. The next thing we need to talk about, of course, is the Angelic, or as I like to call it, the Angelica palette by Cosmic Beauty. Like, it's just missing a little A here. It's so close. We were so close. This palette, I think this is launching today on the 30th over at Cosmic Beauty's website. I did film a video on this one. This one got to me and I just had a day free where I really didn't have much planned. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna sit down and film a look. Usually I film 2 looks, but I didn't have time for that. But I filmed the look, I put the video up, and I was like, look at me. Look at me actually doing a dedicated review in the year of 2026. I was surprised too. You can use my discount code Angelica and get some money off at Cosmic Beauty. You know that Cosmic Beauty is one of my absolute favorite indie brands, and I'm always over the moon when they are releasing new stuff. So I am so excited. I really want to use this one together with the Valentine's palette that they came out with last year, which was the Lovers palette. I feel like these two together would be so exciting. So yeah, I've only done 1 look so far. I like that look. I don't really have a final verdict on the palette, and I'm just excited to see one of my favorite brands release more stuff. What can I say? Another thing that I want to talk about is the new palette by DeDe Signature. My PR, unfortunately, is taking a really long detour, probably on the basement floor at a UPS office somewhere in this country. I don't have my palette with me, but it looks gorgeous. This one, oh my gosh, it is available now. I did not even... Okay, this palette is available now. Wait, let me actually share this one. It is available now. You can use my discount code Angelica and you will get 10% off at DeDe Signature. I love DeDe Signature. I love her creativity. I love the owner. I love the quality. I love everything about this brand, and it's quickly become some of my favorite palettes in my collections. I loved the Broken Jewels palette from last year. It is such an amazing palette, and every time I talk to some of you, you mention too how much you love that palette. So that palette really made some waves, at least in the community that I am in, and I'm just so excited to see them come out with another palette. Okay, I just had to go in and share about that story because I did not know it was launching on Thursday. I thought it was launching on Friday, but it is available. It looks good. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to use this one. I feel so bad for the owner. Some of the PR has gotten a little bit lost in the mail, but it looks gorgeous. I love the color story. I love the presentation. I love that it's a different take on a Valentine's palette because I love pink. Clearly, I'm wearing pink today, but like a little bit of a different take is always refreshing as well. Let's also take a look at the Blend Bunny Diabla palette. We talked about the owner, the inspiration, and the logo change last week, but now we know how everything looks. I gotta say, this is my favorite packaging the Blend Bunny has ever done. I am obsessed with the packaging. I love red and pink together. This just looks incredible. I love there's a bright red and a bright pink in the palette. That is definitely the look that I'm doing when I'm getting this palette. I know it's being sent out in PR, but I know some of the PR, again, also got a little bit delayed. I'll get it when I get it. I'm super excited. This one is supposed to launch today, Friday the 30th. You can use my discount code Angelica and you will get 10% off over at Blend Bunny. But I know they had a little bit of a delay because of the winter weather that was going on in shipping. So they're gonna have a pre-order for half of the palettes today on the 30th, and then the rest of the palettes I think are releasing next Friday. I did read this messages and I'm pretty sure that that's what they said. They might even have another shipment coming in after, but there's going to be a pre-order this Friday, but then the actual launch of the rest of the palettes are going to be next Friday. So if you want to secure one in pre-order, you can do that today. If you want to wait until they're ready to be shipped out, you can do that next Friday. If they sell out this Friday, they won't sell out all of them. There's still going to be palettes released next Friday. Just so everyone knows where we're at with this release, I just wanted to give you the proper information. I do think that this has a really interesting color story. Again, it is the red and the pink. There is a pop of blue. I love blue. So I like that it's not like the typical Valentine's. There's a little bit of difference. I don't need that big of a black and that big of a white, but I do know that a lot of the audience that buys Blend Bunny are more like the Instagram creators that always use a black and a white, and I love the black and the white. I have blacks and whites like in my palettes too, so it's not that I don't need it. I don't need that big of a pan of it, quite honestly, but again, I do know that that big of a pan is not made for people like me to just dip their brush in the black. Those pans are made for people who love white and black and always go through those shadows first in their palettes because they're using them with every look. So, you know, not everything has to be made for me, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I just like to know why, and I do know. In this case, I actually do know why. I also will say I love that there seems to be like a black metallic. If you didn't know, I love black metallics. One day I'm gonna make a really nice black metallic with my brand. It just needs to fit in somewhere, but I love a black metallic, so I'm really interested in that one too. Me personally, I don't need the neutrals in this kind of a palette, but I also think it is nice, and again, that's something that I try to think of too. It's nice when a palette can go bright and neutral, and I do like the undertones of these browns. It seems to be like neutral browns, and that neutral brown shimmer actually looks really pretty. I'm excited to try it out. I will say the undertone of these blues, they're just like blue. That's some of my like kryptonite. I do like that, so I'm intrigued to see how this one looks. I love the red metallic around the shades. I'm interested to see. Again, I really love, and Maggie did say that in a post, and I actually went back and I read the post again, and I was like, you know what, I 100% agree with this, and this is how I feel too. She said when she's creating stories, she thinks about that color story in itself. She doesn't 100% think about, do I have something similar before? She thinks about that color story because most of the people who shop from Blend Bunny does not own every palette, and sometimes a color story needs a shade that she's already done. And I was like, you know what, I actually do agree with that. I do think the most important thing is that you make that color story or that theme or that idea that you had in your head. The most important thing is that you make that one perfect for this palette. I think it would be more of a problem if they did something that I know ColourPop had a problem with back in, what was it, 2020, 2021, when they were releasing makeup all the time, that they kept doing the same color story again and again. I think as long as the color story and the idea and the vision behind it is different, I don't really care if there's like similar shades from palette to palette, because I actually think that that's probably something that my brand will end up doing eventually as well. So I actually went back and I read that, and I was like, you know what, that actually hit me more than I thought it would, because I agree. I think the most important thing is that the color story within the palette makes sense. So I thought it was interesting, and I gotta say, this packaging is so incredibly good. Like I would put that on my wall. We've also seen a sneak peek from Bella Beauté Bar. They just had a palette with Deandra Nicole, the pink palette, which will also be included in the video where this look will be, because I did like several looks with several indie palettes, so that one will be included there. But they're also doing a Dead Roses Volume 2, and I gotta say, the cover is so pretty, and they did say who the artist was, and I went into the artist and I am blown away. This artist, again, I want to buy something and put on my wall, because this artist, Laurent Reyes, mind blown. It is so good. So this one just says coming soon. I'm intrigued to see what Dead Roses 2 is going to be. I am assuming, because Dead Roses 1 was kind of bright, it had a lot of bright colors in it, and I think Dead Roses 2, just looking at this color story here, I think this one will be more muted and more like dried, like dead roses. So I'm intrigued to see what this is, because I feel like that's a color story that Bella Beauté Bar hasn't like really explored before, and I'm excited to see their take on that. Another palette that's lost in the mail, yes, I am having the best luck, is the new palette by Arttitude Cosmetics. This looks so beautiful. This one is called Moonlight Muse, and it looks so stunning. I don't know where my palette is. somewhere in the ether. Hopefully it's gonna reach me soon. This one is available also today. Oh my god, everything's launching this week. So many fun things. You can use my discount code Angelic and get some money off. This one is a really nice take on that area where neutral meets color, which I think Arttitude Cosmetics has done a palette like that before, and they do it so well. I just think the swatches look so yummy, and I am so intrigued to be trying this one out. I'm really enjoying how the shimmers are looking, and yeah, as soon as I have it, I'll do something. It's gonna be like a race. Whatever palette reaches me first between the Blend Bunny, the DeDe, and the Arttitude, it's gonna be the 6th and final palette in my 6 looks 6 palettes. The other 2, I'll do probably some reels with it, because I have a very, very stressful February. If you only knew. Oh, I forgot to say as well, DeDe Signature is also releasing some eyeshadow primers. This is the Lock It In All Day, and these are launching together with the palettes. They're already available. They come in 5 different shades. I know she sent me 2 of the shades. Very intrigued to be trying these out. I don't know exactly which ones she sent me. She might have sent me one of the neutral ones, or either 2 neutral or 1 neutral and a white. I'm not 100% sure, but they look very promising, and I've heard some other people trying them and really enjoying them. Glaminatrix also is releasing, or has released. They are available now, and you can use my discount code Angelic with them. I don't know if these are available in their US warehouse or if these are only available in their Australia warehouse, but these are the Fae Collection Singles Volume 1. You know, I'm all about the Fae. I'm excited about that. So there is going to be 6 different shades, and these are a new kind of a crystal slurry eyeshadow. 6 high-impact crystal slurry eyeshadows designed for maximum sparkle, texture, and adhesion. This is a drier crystal slurry formula with deliberately piecey finish, allowing for the reflective particles to sit visibly on the lid rather than melting flat. So it's going to be a multi-dimensional finish. I'm showing you different pictures here, but I am intrigued to see what this is going to end up being. Usually when they say texture, it does make me go, because those usually do not work when you have a little bit more of an aging eyelid. Again, I am 42. I'm not 102. Like, listen, everybody calm down. But I definitely have noticed that with age, how my eyelids move and what works on them, especially with the hood that's starting to come here. You can see it's, yeah, honestly, I'm pretty good with makeup to hide it, but I definitely have problems with things being too emollient, being too oily, being too creamy, and being too textured. And usually it doesn't always work for me. So I don't know if this will work for me, but I will say, when it said that it was a drier but still will adhere to the lids, that did make my ears perk up a bit, because that's usually a really good sign. I saw this one. This is the new Viseart Paris Apricotine Lumiere Etendu palette. I mean, I see that the palette has apricots next to it, but like, is the apricot in the room with us right now? I don't know why you would take an all brown palette with one slightly apricot nude and call it an apricot palette. I don't know why, and I also feel like right now, when everybody's going crazy about 2016 makeup again, and there's definitely a reason why, and everybody's going crazy about the Swedish pop singer Sara Larsson, her makeup and her makeup artist, releasing an all brown palette, it seems like bad timing. Honestly, I do really like the Viseart formula though, but this one will not be for me. Another all brown palette that is coming out is the YSL Couture Eye palette in Nude Hours. I do like the name though. Nude Hours is really good. I think this palette, I mean, it has a light beige, it has a black, but then all the other colors are, some of them are very similar to each other, and I do wish for a little bit more of variation, even though we're doing a brown palette. I think a lot of people are gonna absolutely love this palette though. It won't be for me. I love mixing it up with neutrals every now and then. I just have a hard time seeing me liking an all brown palette. Although I will say this is at least only a 9 pan, so I guess that's something. Ooh, then we have the new palette by Beauté. I think they're switching up to a plastic packaging. I don't know if that means that they're just changing the packaging or if they're also changing the labs. Sometimes when brands change packaging, It means that they also changed manufacturer. I don't know if that's going to mean that they're going to have a different formula, but this is the Wanderscape 20 color palette. This one is already available. I will link it down below. I don't hate the color story at all. I think it's a beautiful color story. I mean, you know how I feel about the teals and the pinks and the purples together. There's a bunch of neutrals as well. I don't hate it at all. I will say, I used to really love the Beauté formula. And then the last palette I tried from them, all of a sudden, I wasn't as impressed. And there was something about the shimmers that just made me feel a little meh. Just felt a little 2014 and not in a great way. So I don't know if this means that it's an update or no. Maybe I need to check a couple of like reviews. But like I said, usually when brands change their packaging like this, it's because they're also changing their formula. Too Faced is releasing a liquid blush. Too Faced, I feel like Too Faced is like 2 years behind on every releases. Too Faced liquid blushes was very popular a couple of years ago. Maybe though they can be first on the trend again. Listen, I don't even blame them, but like, I don't know if a mainstream brand is releasing a liquid blush now. It kind of has to have something that's different. Maybe they should have made it shimmery because people are very into shimmery cheeks right now. And all the colors are very generic too. I mean, you have eyes, you see it here. I don't know. They did the same with that like liquid highlighter with the skin tone, you know, that like flawless filter. You know, that Charlotte Tilbury dupe that they released a couple of months ago. It's the same with that one. If you're going to release that now, a couple of years after the hype has died down, you're going to have to bring something new to the table. There's going to be a new finish. There's going to be something that makes it better than the other ones. There's going to be blushes in colors you haven't seen before. It's going to be a finish that's new and fresh. You can't just be like, oh, remember those Rare Beauty and Juvia's Place blushes everybody was going crazy about 2-3 years ago? Yeah, we're coming out with them now. Ta-da! This is the reason why Estee Lauder is rumored to get rid of Too Faced. They're just so late. They're so late on everything. And I like the packaging. I like a liquid blush. But if I'm buying a liquid blush now, when my liquid blushes that I bought 2 years ago, there has to be something new about them. If this would have been a shimmery formula, I would have been like, yes, sign me up. If this would have been that lavender color that is so popular right now, I would have been like, yes, sign me up. But the same peaches and pinks that were released 3 years ago in a similar formula, I already have that. Remember how I told you that it is the return of baked formulas? These are the new soft baked blushes by Essence. 6 shades. It is $6.99 each. It's available both at Ulta Beauty and Essence Makeup. And since this is a European brand, I'm assuming it's available in different European countries as well. These look delicious. I will say though, some of these shades look very similar. Maybe we could have gone a little bit more different when we have 6 shades. But again, I'm excited for baked formulas to come back because I like a baked formula when it's done right. Sometimes they're too dry, but usually they're just really smooth and finely milled. And I'm like, okay. I really feel like making baked products is probably going to solve the formulation issue that a lot of brands are probably encountering now when they're doing talc-free products. So I'm excited to see it. I think these look pretty. I wish this shimmery formula had like a coral or a baby pink. I actually would have been excited. I don't know. Maybe one of those muted colors. The soft bloom looks really pretty. I will say the Cocoa Glaze, the darkest one, looks delicious. Ooh, now we have seen more information about the new scent sprays by Phlur. I talked about this a while ago, but at that point we'd only see some sneak peeks. We haven't really seen much at all. But these are being released. When are these being released? I think they're coming the 10th of February. I am head over heels excited about this. If I'm not getting this in PR, I do get Phlur PR. Oh my god, I got their new body oil. I have it here. Let me show. It smells even better than the fragrance. It's so good. Let me get it. This was released a while ago, and I'm just showing you here because I can give you a fine, like a little review on this release. So the Vanilla Skin is one of their most favorite scents, but I had never tried it. But when I got my PR package, it was both the oil and the fragrance. And I will say, the Vanilla Skin fragrance is a very typical kind of light vanilla fragrance. It's nice. The body oil, this is the new one. This one is even better. This is leaning a little bit more into the vanilla fragrance by Kayali. This one smells straight up like vanilla shortcake, like cake batter. It smells so delicious. My husband, okay, this is a dry oil, so it sinks in really beautifully. It's not greasy. It didn't stain any clothes that it came. Like, I put my shirt and my pants on after. I felt like it's like sank in. It made me look moisturized but not greasy. It's a beautiful glass bottle. And my husband was like, why do you smell like cookies? And you know what? I am not the person who want to smell like cake, but there's something so delicious about these like vanilla shortbread cookie scents. I actually really like it. This is one of my favorite vanilla scents that I've ever smelled, and it's even better than the fragrance. Enough about that. That was my quick review of me having that oil for like 2 weeks, I think. I've been using it. I've been enjoying it. I actually really like it. Cannot wait to use it in the summer. It's really delicious. So these new body sprays, it is the matcha milk and berry cream. The matcha, you know, I love a green scent, and matcha really smells green. So the matcha one has bergamot zest and black tea accord. I'm so excited about the black tea accord, and I love bergamot is a bitter citrus. That's what that smells like. Then it is matcha macadamia milk, which means it's going to be a nutty, milky scent. Warm vanilla, musk, amber, patchouli. I think this will be freaking fabulous. I think this will be the most amazing layering scent if you want to ground something and make it a bit more green. The way that I used the Danza Mystica, I'm so excited about this one. This will be mine. I wasn't really interested in the berry cream until I read, these are the notes: raspberry, strawberry, cream. Makes sense. But then it is violet milk. One of my absolute, almost one of my few florals that I absolutely adore in fragrances, and especially in unisex and male fragrances. Violet is one of the few florals that actually lean masculine in scents. So violet milk, apple leaves, hibiscus flower, vanilla bean, and breath, and sugared amber. That violet milk, that makes me think that this will maybe not be as sugary as I think. There might be a little depth to this, so I'm very intrigued, but I will get the matcha milk. Try and stop me. Try and stop me. Even if I don't get it in PR, I will get the matcha milk. Of course. Another one that I am so excited about, and I didn't love the other fragrances from Boy Smells. If you watched my video where I was ranking every fragrance that I tried in 2025, you know that the Boy Smells did not do that good. I love Boy Smells as a fragrance brand. They have some fragrances that I am obsessed about, but I didn't love their first drop of body mists. But I have high expectations of this new one. This one says that this is launching for spring summer 2026, which means it's probably launching soon because they want to launch their products before the season. It is soft wood, which is salted honeydew, fig nectar. Fig? I feel like I've been summoned. Fig, I'm summoned. Cyclamen flower, jasmine, ambroxan, and creamy sandalwood. Sandalwood and fig and salted honeydew. I think this will be a very sweet green scent. The next one is, it's souk, I think. It is cucumber and green apple. Obsessed. Fresh mint, jasmine, soft musk, and cedarwood, and mint, green apple, and cucumber. This is going to be the most amazing everyday, again, to make your everyday scent even fresher. I've been using that mint fragrance, the new one that came out from Commodity. This together with that, I can only imagine how good it's going to be. I need it. Next one is going to be watermelons. It's going to be watermelon pulp, lime juice. Again, watermelon with lime. I think jasmine, agave nectar, teakwood, and sea salt. I think that's going to be such a good summer fragrance, making it like tropical but different. And then there is an actual fragrance. One of my favorite fragrance from Boy Smells is their Hinoki wood. They make Hinoki wood so good. And they're doing another Hinoki flavor. Hinoki is I think it is a Japanese tree. if I'm not mistaken. It is one of my favorite like notes of tree out there. Coconut milk, pear, tiare, hinoki, musk, smoked amber. I think this one is going to be a sexy, tropical, unisex. That's what I'm thinking. Because coconut milk, tiare flower is that flower that is like the flower that's in suntan lotions. You know what I'm thinking right now. Hinoki wood, coconut milk, pear, tiare, musk, smoked amber. I am thinking tropical, unisex, sexy. I need all of this. Can you tell how excited I am? I need all of that. All of that sounds like something I have never smelled before, but need in my life in the most obsessive way. Speaking of, did you see the collab between e.l.f. Cosmetics and H&M? I mean, I'm a Swede, so I kind of have to like H&M. I have to like H&M. I have to like IKEA. I'm Swedish. What am I supposed to do? Like, these are not optional. It's like part of our DNA. But they have done a collab with e.l.f. and I actually went into the H&M website this morning because it is available. You can buy it at the website, and none of it was sold out. And I was like, funny how that is. So they are releasing accessories and fragrances, and these are based on the three products from e.l.f. If you didn't know, in Sweden, e.l.f. is sold inside of H&M stores, and I'm sure it's the same in other places. If you live in Europe, let me know if it's the same in your country, if H&M is selling e.l.f. within stores. And from what I've heard, in Europe, this is a very successful collab between the two. So they have released 3 scents together. So it's the Power Grip Salty Drip, Eucalyptus, Cedarwood, Sea Salts. Sounds great. Again, I love eucalyptus. Halo Glow Luminous Cloud, Magnolia, Vanilla Amber, sure, Camel Blend Nude Canvas, Vanilla, Musk Palo Santo, Adula Palo Santo, Smoky Depth Soft Yet Mysterious, and then there is a bag socks and a bag charm. I mean, e.l.f. is known for their weird... This isn't even the weirdest collab they've ever done. You remember the taco collab they had? I mean, this isn't even like top... This isn't even top 3. They had a collab with like, what's that dating app that they were on? Can you tell I've never been on a dating app in my life? What is it called? They had a collab with them. They had a collab with Dunkin' Donuts. This is not even making top 5, okay? This is just a blip in the map of like weird collabs that e.l.f. has had. But what I thought was interesting is the fact that it's available and not sold out. Speaking of collabs, there is another collab. This is Floral Street. I don't know if this is available outside of the US, but this is their collab with Bridgerton. I think it makes sense to make a collab with Bridgerton. I'm guessing... this is mandarin, hazelnut, pink pepper, pear, gardenia. Yeah, makes sense. So because it's a lot of flowers, it's supposed to be, you know, the English rose. I'm guessing there's rose in here. Yeah. So it is pear, hazelnut, gardenia, and then rose. This is gonna be florals and pear. You're gonna be like, oh, that sounds interesting. This is gonna smell like a lot of those mainstream fragrances that you have already smelled. You know, the Lancomes, the Chanels, the Dior's, because they always do a little bit of pear or a little bit of apple and then flowers. So this is gonna smell very familiar, but probably very safe, which might be a good idea for a collab. Have you watched the new series of Bridgerton? My husband is actually away on a conference today. Did I say that? He's gone all day. He is coming back at 9 p.m. So I am going to be editing this video and I am going to watch Bridgerton. And maybe DoorDash, something really nice. Maybe cake. I deserve some treats. Last week we talked about the fact that CoverFX was closing down, and it seems like the parent brand of CoverFX is also closing another one of their brands, which is Mally Beauty. And on the Mally Beauty Instagram, basically in exactly the same message that CoverFX had, exactly the same message came up, and instead of saying CoverFX, it said Mally. So I think that this owner probably is just exiting some of their brands that are not doing the hottest and maybe putting more effort into the ones. They also own Laura Geller, and Laura Geller just relaunched at Sephora, so I think they're putting more eggs in the Laura Geller basket and just getting rid of some underperforming brands. And I have said this before and I will say it again, I think 2026 will be the year where a lot of brands that have been overextending, that have a lot of retail space or used to have a lot of retail space and no longer does. I'm looking at you, like Smashbox or what is that, Stila. Some of those brands, I would not be surprised if you see them go in 2026, or brands that grew really quickly and got a lot of retail space and then just overcommitted a little bit. I'm looking at you, ABH. They've not been doing so hot and they have so much retail space. You cannot even begin to imagine the amount of decimals you would need to calculate how much money is tied up for ABH in just products in all of these retail spaces. And it is the same about the next brand we're going to talk about, which is, of course, Pat McGrath, because Pat McGrath has now officially filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which just means that they are out of money and they have more debts than they can pay, but they don't want to stop like the organization. They want to keep going, so they are restructuring and just trying to get rid of some of the debts, and they want to keep going, basically. I think Chapter 7, is it Chapter 7 in the US that is like, you know, operations are quitting and everything has to go, you know, one of those kind of things. So if you are interested still in Pat McGrath, it's business as usual right now. But this also happened just days before the auction that they said they were going to have. And I think it's because they had nobody showing interest. So they were like, literally, we have nobody showing interest. And if this auction happens and nobody's buying, it's going to be straight off to Chapter 7, which I think it is. I think it's Chapter 7 bankruptcy. So instead, they chose themselves to do Chapter 11 bankruptcy. I think, this is me speculating, okay, nobody sue me. I think what happened with Pat McGrath is that they wanted to expand. The brand was doing great. Pat McGrath is undeniably one of the most talented and influential makeup artists that we have ever seen on this planet. And nobody can deny the absolute bangers of products that were released in the beginning of Pat McGrath Labs, which made this brand so popular and made them get the interest of investors. And I think that private equity investors ruined Pat McGrath. Allegedly. I think that they got a lot of investors that was able to scale the brand, more products, more gondolas, getting into brick and mortar, expanding to different markets, to different countries, getting into different product categories. And I think they overextended. How many markets, how many brick and mortar stores, how many products, how many releases. And I think that because the private equity, the investors, they want a return on investment, and they put a date. At this date, we are expecting to get our investment back plus interest. So the brands that get investors, they have to hustle. Now they have this amount of time where they have to make this much money plus more to give to the investors and still have enough money left to keep, you know, business going. And now that the business is so big, you need more products. And every time you produce a product, you pay for the product way before the customer sees it. So you need to have that product in liquid in the brand to pay the vendors to get the product, and then you can sell it. And that's when you see, am I getting the money back or not? So I think getting that many investors, and the brand was also valued to 1 billion, which I think was a little too high. I don't know if Pat McGrath was ever a $1 billion brand. They were a big brand, but they maybe weren't a $1 billion brand. Sometimes with private equity and valuations and sales and all of that, sometimes brands get a little overvaluated. I'm looking at you, the entire AI bubble right now. $1 billion companies that are still thinking about what they want to do. What is that all about? So I think that, me speculating, I think they got a little overvaluated. I think they maybe had maybe too big part of the company run or decided by investors. And I think those investors said, make money fast. And I think the reason we saw less of those creative launches and more of those more cookie cutter, what will sell on the market, what are people looking for launches that eventually just made the brand look kind of repetitive and tired, is because they needed to make that money back. And Pat McGrath just recently announced that she's the creative director of Louis Vuitton, and creating a full makeup line like that is not done overnight. So she has clearly been working with Louis Vuitton for years. So and this is me speculating, I am assuming that there maybe was a little bit of a disagreement on what kind of products the brand was going to release. The private investors maybe had a little bit too much to say, because maybe they took on a little bit too much of investors to scale the brand, and they just had a little bit too much say. And I'm guessing Pat McGrath was like, okay, well, I'm just going to go be creative at a different brand. Because if you look at some of the things that Louis Vuitton released, yes, it is different packaging. Yes, it is a different price point. But a lot of those things are not too different from the releases that Pat McGrath had in the beginning, with textures and vision and color stories. So maybe she was just being creative somewhere else. And I do think that it showed in some of the things that Pat McGrath Labs was releasing the past couple of years. That Pat McGrath creativity, it just wasn't with the brand. It left the chat, and I think that resulted in the brand feeling stale and repetitive. And it is good to produce those staple things. You know, if you release a palette, like they released that rose palette that everybody loved, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my god, our customers love rose and gold. That's great, but if you only release those products, you're gonna end up just looking a little bit stale, and that doesn't work for every brand. And I think sometimes when you have a makeup brand, it is that fine line between releasing things that you already know have done well before, and you're just releasing a different version of it, thinking it will be great again, and being creative, stepping outside the box, and releasing something that your customers have never seen. That might flop. So you do need a little bit of this sprinkled in. But if you lose this one completely, it is just going to be how people saw not everyone, how a lot of people saw Pat McGrath the last couple of years, which is just a big long parade of pink and golds, never ending, and just none of that super exciting. Where was that like spark that they had in the beginning? And I think the spark left when private equity entered the chat. And I think, again, allegedly, this is me speculating, none of this, I don't work for the brand, I don't know anything of this. I'm just basing this on what I've seen from the outside looking in, and what clearly is the end product, because they did file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. I think that private equity was asking for them to just make more of what's already sold. Creativity just wasn't there, and the customers kind of caught on and realized that they could get the same level of creativity for half the price somewhere else, because the brand was just too expensive to keep releasing the same thing again and again. What will this mean? Is the brand gone? Is it coming back? Honestly, you never know. I think the risk with taking on finance that might not understand the business that you're doing, that think more about money than about makeup and about how the beauty community works, there's always going to be a risk of it just not panning out. Chapter 11 bankruptcy, there's a lot of brands that have been in Chapter 11 bankruptcy and come back from that. So this will definitely not be the last one to do that. If they do, and I don't think that this necessarily means the end of Pat McGrath. I think it just is, again, based on what I think happened. I think this is just will the financiers just kind of just be like, okay, so our strategy didn't work. Let's restructure and let's go back to the drawing board and let's give the customers. It's not about always, okay, this is something I learned when I was in just a waitress, but it's not always about giving customers what they say they want. It is about bringing them an experience they didn't even know was possible of having. And I think that's the thing about the beauty community right now. It's not about bringing the customers what they say they want. It's about bringing them a product they didn't even know they could have. And that's what Pat McGrath was in the beginning. They were bringing out palettes and products and powders where people were like, I did not even know this was on the table. I did not even know you could get this even at Sephora when they started at Sephora. And then they kind of lost that. And I think that's a shame. Okay, that's all I wanted to say about that. I'm gonna go get myself some sushi. I would love to hear your thoughts. Should I have double checked and seen if there's like something new going on? Because sometimes I stop like filming and then something shows up. Not that I can see. No, I think we're done. I hope you're having an absolutely amazing weekend. I will try and have an amazing weekend. There's a new restaurant opening in Austin, and me and my husband are gonna try and get a table. Probably next week though, because you know, opening weekend is like a little crazy. If you're wondering about anything, everything is gonna be down in the description box, as it always is. My links, my codes, all of the things that we have talked about today. Wait until next week to see this look here. I'm super excited to be showing you. And thank you so much, Laundry Sauce, for sponsoring this video. I am obsessed. My husband did laundry yesterday as well, and the whole house just smelled so good. It's mesmerizing. It's absolutely mesmerizing. But I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you when I see you.